And here are the facilitator tips for the practical application section of the communication module. So please, just throughout this entire section, encourage participants to share more examples of both the ineffective and then later on the effective communication skills that they're aware of, because the list that I've put here is just something to get people started. There's more specific examples of things like that. And so it will be helpful to kind of maybe if you have time, go around the room and have people share what they've experienced, both from other people or towards other people, both ineffective and effective things, to kind of give people more ideas of what they can be aware of and what they can work on. When we're asking people about the kind of communication patterns their caregivers modeled for them, it's helpful to emphasize that even though some caregivers modeled poor communication methods, they likely had that modeled for them also, and were not aware of the patterns to know how to change them. So this question is not to be, not to call out our caregivers, not to, blame them or anything like that. This isn't about blame. It's just about understanding of where things come from, and that even the people that maybe modeled some not great things for us probably also had that modeled for them, and this has been a generational thing. And instead of focusing on blame, we can just focus on understanding and forgiveness and breaking the cycle. And then number 3, when we're talking about how communication patterns have affected the health of relationships, you can also have participants give examples from their life of how poor communication has harmed them, such as being yelled at or spoken to in a demeaning way, things of that nature. Being trauma conscious, of course, allow people to share what they want to share, but don't put pressure on anybody, because a lot of people have experienced a lot of, verbal, emotional abuse, and we don't want to pull people back into that if that's not what they're wanting to focus on right then. And then also, when we're talking about I statements, if you want to give more examples of I statements versus you statements to help people kind of understand that concept more, I've also included a link to a helpful worksheet that kind of goes into more detail about that.